All monies received go directly to the support of the Academy.
We're back on One-on-One with Cira Burke, and with us today, Donna Pagano, the author of Merging Lives, and Lucy is here to talk a little bit about hypnotherapy. So I want to get back to the characters of these books because I am hypnotized with this thing. You have to understand. I was able to identify with all three women in this book. I think that you have something, that this book is just not something that you can pick up and put down, but that it touches the lives of women. It doesn't make a difference what color, what ethnic group, where you come from. There's some commonality there. Let's talk about that.
Like we talked at the break, she's a very strong woman. She wants to retain her individuality and keep her character intact. I think over the ages, generations and years, women are, commonly they take a back seat to their man. They let the man be the forerunner of the family, and they somehow sacrifice a little of their own identity and give him the head of the household kind of position. Mm-hmm. And I think over the ages in societies we've been taught to do that.
Right.
And but this character, as much as she loves being a good companion and wants love in her life, she doesn't want to sacrifice who she is, and she doesn't want to let go of her own individuality and her own strengths. And I think there's a lot of women today that want that. They want to be who they are, and they don't want to not be able to shine as who they are. They want just as much noticeability as the man in their life.
Right. I notice in all three characters they have a great sense of premonition when they feel that they've encountered someone that they've known before. The finger starts to burn, or automatically they go into the subconscious state and they just drift off for a minute. How does that play into hypnotherapy and hypnosis? Because I think that there's some relevance there.
Now, can we rephrase that question a little
Sure,
bit?
go ahead.
How
does hypnotherapy play itself in this book? If we notice that there are different times where all three main characters pretty much go through a hypnotherapy session, indirectly or directly. Sometimes it could be where they just have this vision, I've been there before, I know I've known you before. How does that work?
In doing the past life regressions, yes, it is, to me, a lot of people have said, oh, people are just making up stories. And I said, you've got to be there and see them. These are people who are remembering in vivid detail. They are living that life again. And there is no question that, yes, they know this person. In fact, in one of my own that I did with Jim Quast, and he was asking me about, I was one of the part owners on a horse farm with my brother, and he said, oh, look at the brother's face, and do you know him in this life? And all of a sudden it was, oh my God, it's my brother. We're together again.
Wow.
And we had always been, very close, had the same sense of humor, and so it was. And he is very much, the same as I was, except last time I wasn't married.
I might be at a certain place, and I'm like, well, maybe I've been here, or I just encountered someone, and I could pick up their energy right away. Have I met you before? Will I like you, or would I not? But children are very intuitive. They pretty much could size you up in a minute. And said, how does that tie in with hypnotherapy?
Children are actually in a hypnotic state until they're about 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. They are in the alpha brainwave. Okay. So they're little camcorders, if you will. So you have to watch what you say. Mm-hmm. They're picking up everything. Right. And they're very, very intuitive. We'll hone right in on things right away, just as you do. Mm-hmm. You are in a hypnotic state.
Mm-hmm. Now, Donna, let's shift back to the book. I know that you're going to have a book signing session.
Mm-hmm. I have had one already, and I want to do another one.
Okay. And I also hear that you want to go on ahead and put this into a film, and how's that coming? I do.
Even just starting to write it, it played like a movie in my head. I could even hear the soundtrack, and I just couldn't type fast enough because it was just like a movie playing, a visual. So everybody who's read it says this has to be a film. It's just so visual, and I think the locations would be fabulous and all of it. So yes, I do want to see it a film. That's a film, a TV show, a miniseries, something visual.
visual. Let's talk about the male characters. As a female writer, how are you able to tap into, to develop and create these male characters that are so very convincing in Merging Lives?
Because I was married to them. I mean, you know, I know these men, their characters intimately, you know, and I know them. So, but that is a tricky thing. I'm happy that for a living now, I'm a massage therapist.
Okay.
I have a lot of hours of quiet where I don't have to use my brain. It's just intuitive body work. And I'm in a quiet room that's candlelit, and I can just trip out into my storylines. And my characters start talking in my head. I feel like John Nash in A Beautiful Mind, you know? I have all these imaginary friends around me talking, and and then in between massages I have to write down, that was a good line, you know?
Right.
So I can go a lot of places with my imagination too.
I noticed that in all characters there was a significant birthmark, and we shared a little bit about that in terms of symbolism. But when it goes back to hypnosis, have you come in contact with individuals that have either had significant marks, and then as they go into regression, that those issues come out in terms of how this symbolism, how this mark comes into play?
I personally haven't, but I've had teachers that have told us about this. And there will be sometimes a child born, and there will be an interesting looking scar around the neck, and no reason for it. And then later, when they do a hypnosis session, find that they were beheaded in a battle or hanged or something. And but very often people with we'll say a traumatic end, being hit by a spear or something, may have an actual birthmark in the place where the spear went in. And no reason for it until they do a hypnosis session and find that that's the reason for it. A lot of things carry over. Phobias are a big thing right there. If you are attacked and eaten by a lion in one life, and then you have perhaps developed a terrible allergy to cat-like animals in another life, then by the time you've done it 2 or 3 times and had run-ins, then you may develop this allergy to cats. And not to other animals, just to cats.
That's interesting. That's really quite interesting. Well, when we get back, we'll again continue our conversation in our literary corner with author Donna Pagano and Lucy Portlock. Again, as we stay tuned on One-on-One with Cira Burke as we continue to merge lives.
Merging Lives is a thought-provoking powerhouse novel written by local author Donna Pagano. This novel is available locally at these listed locations and online at Amazon.com. Please visit the website at donnapagano.com for more information.
If you think it's hip to be in a gang, listen up. I got into a gang at the age of 13. At 21, I was in and out of prison for the next 17 years. I got shot 13 times. Now I'm 44, and I'm here to tell you, the drugs, the money, the sex, it's all there, waiting for you. First you have to ask yourself, are you willing to give up half your life or more to be in a gang?
Next on One-on-One.
25% of our children and our families are living in poverty. 55.6% of the Virgin Islands children are led in single-family homes. Another alarming statistic, 73% of our Virgin Islands 7th graders can't read well. 12% of all our babies are born to teen moms.
The statistics are sobering, and our children are paying the price. Cira Burke examines the facts and figures from the latest survey from Kids Count on the next edition of One-on-One. The Virgin Islands Marine Academy is preparing our children for careers in the marine industry by offering a full curriculum of courses and certification in crew member sailing, safe motoring, sport and game fishing, PADI open water, lifeguard training, CPR, and first aid.
The U.S. Virgin Islands depends mostly on tourism. And like any other island that is considered a destination of choice, water is central to our survival. And these waters offer sport fishing, motoring, sailing, diving, and many other recreational activities that are second to none. All of this depends on well-trained, qualified individuals to help support the system known as the marine industry.
Should you choose to make a donation on behalf of the Virgin Islands Marine Academy, not only is it tax deductible,